Mathematics, science, history. As students embark on their academic careers, they'll experience a variety of diverse subjects and develop passions and skills that will drive their future aspirations and set a course for the rest of their lives. But without a strong foundation in literacy and comprehension, navigating the road to success can become a harrowing, insurmountable path.
For too long, for too many kids, we have not seen reading achievement improve. And that means that those kids are really struggling to have the literacy skills that they need to be successful, not only in school, but in life.
So much of success in life, including mental health and everything, are all predicated on what's happening educationally. Where education is concerned, what's the main predicate for doing well in education? The main predicate is how well you learn. Yeah, you can include reading as a subcomponent of that, but the larger issue is how well do you make sense of the world around you, and that's all dictated by what's happening in our education system.
I'm a parent of two twin girls, and one of them really struggled to understand and take direction. If it got complex, she couldn't do it. She worked so hard when she was younger to try and get it right, but she struggled, and I knew that that was going to wear off and she would be defeated because she wasn't finding results. At some point, she was going to just completely give up, and that was really scary.
One of the main distinctions that we see, and it's very common in every school system throughout the United States, in fact, all English and/or Indo-European languages are faced with an issue called dyslexia. We traditionally think that that's a factor associated with the wiring of the brain and how it is that individuals perceive sounds and/or how they process the alphabetic code in the English language. Regardless of those differences, we still are faced with a challenge of addressing that particular need for that particular child. If you have a child who comes from an impoverished environment and their vocabulary, for example, is impoverished, that in no way justifies us treating those kids any differently. We simply have to be able to diagnose that deficit and then address that as one of the factors. What we've discovered is that if we can pair a child's ability to create mental representations in their mind's eye, we can have a profound effect in their profile so that they can benefit from the rest of their educational experience in subject matter. How does the brain function in terms of the sensory system and what we're calling this imagery-language connection? We've been experimenting with that to see if, in fact, if we stimulate those areas of the brain in well-controlled clinical environments, can we get both neuroscientific validation of the changes in the brain as well as the behavioral changes for kids who actually turn out to be reading normally? And the answer is yes.
When it comes to teaching reading, too many teacher preparation programs are failing to give teachers the skills that they need to be able to teach kids how to read. And sadly, what we find is that colleges and universities are not training our teachers about the science of teaching reading. And special education teachers, by the way, get less training on how to teach reading than their general education counterparts. The search for programs that work led me to find Lindamood-Bell. I have seen evidence of its effectiveness and its impact in public school settings.
Often our teachers are seeking out for their own personal development. They see that they're not meeting the needs of their students and they want to improve themselves. And then we also see school districts calling us, administrators that want to either address a specific literacy initiative or they are just hoping to provide new professional development and valid, relevant professional development for their teachers.
I finally felt like somebody was looking at just my daughter and her issues and wasn't putting her into a category or a box that everyone else was in. So I knew after they explained to me how it worked that this was going to be really life-changing for her. I knew it would be hard for her to hold a job if she couldn't take direction or explain how she was feeling, which I think is so important. So that was the biggest change that I saw in her. She was expressing herself.
We want to actually dig to the root of the problem. And so our instruction is addressing the underlying sensory cognitive functions. We help teachers understand the why behind what their students are going with, whether they're struggling to learn something or it's taking longer for them to progress. They've had years of preparation and years of experience working with students, but this kind of brings it all together and ties it all together, and now they feel completely competent to help their students.
So my daughter is in college now, and she knows how to find resources to help her if she's struggling in something, which is great. I would recommend Lindamood-Bell because it's life-changing, not just for my daughter. It was life-changing for our entire family.
We now know that the issue of sensory cognitive processing, as we understand what functionally needs to happen in the human brain for reading, learning itself, and years of experimentation on the best way to deliver that to individuals who fall into that category for at-risk learning behaviors, is to the same extent that we're going to be able to affect it. There's a lot of detail that goes along with it, but having done this, we now see the kinds of changes that we're experiencing. The real power of this is going out and doing what is generally referred to as translational research and bringing that professionally to teachers out in education and school systems.
Lindamood-Bell Learning Processes. We dream big for learning. For more, visit lindamoodbell.com.